So we've moved on to Sea Explorer, Boris Herrman, German sailor, largely supported by the Yacht Club de Monaco. And the reason that people will know this boat is because last year this is the boat that Greta sailed across the Atlantic on. So it's been in the news quite a bit.
2015 or 16 VPLP Vendée, full foiler. As you can see here, the big fenders that allow these boats to tie up to the dock, because that's as far in as those foils go due to the shape of them, was Seb Joss's Gitana 16, and once again a very fast boat. There's sister ships of this boat in there. You can see up on the deck there the pulley systems used when those red bits of foils are pushed down. These foils will come all the way out to somewhere down around here. They'll go down and out. In light winds, they've got to, when the boats heel a bit, they've got to drag these things. Well, I'll try and have them in the up position like this, but these are slow in light winds and they try and get over that hump, and the sooner they can get foiling, the better.
You see on the mast here there's a few British names. So Will Harris has co-skippered this boat quite a lot. He's a British sailor and he's actually the reserve skipper for the Vendée Globe race. I don't know if he's driving around in a big truck looking for Boris on zebra crossings, but
Okay, now once again you can see the elaborate plans they have here with the fenders to keep these boats tied up with these huge foils out here. This boat behind us, LinkedOut, Thomas Ruyant, this boat was one of the Volvo Super 60s that was designed as more as a one design boat for the round the world fully crewed race, and this was the prototype. It says on the documents that it's a bit heavier than the sister ship she has, or the other boat she has alongside here, and that might have been because it wanted to be more reliable for the punishment that a fully crewed team were going to put it through as it sailed around the world. Latest generation boat. It's got the second generation of foils on it, new foils out of there, and you can see the hydro generators are on sliders on this one at the back here. They go up and down, they don't kick down. It's been modified to be a one-person boat as against a fully crewed boat. Should be a very quick boat, this one.
and you see I'm guessing there are cameras on the back there. So
Yep.
all of these new boats are just covered in cameras because you can't see anything at all from sort of the inside of the boat, and there's water coming over the deck all the time, and so they've got to be able to sort of look out to the side of the boat, and they just use cameras to keep watch, to trim the sails, everything.
Okay, here we are at a fascinating boat called Corum, a 1K design for Nicolas Troussel, a 2-time Figaro winner, and this boat is a very interesting new interpretation on the foiling boats. You can see how high the top sides are on this boat. One of the stability criteria for this class of boat is the boat has to demonstrate that it can turn itself upright when it's laying on its side. What's interesting about these boats and where they're changing is that as they're starting to rely on these foils down here to give them stability, instead of being the standard width of the hull, they've now got this arm, this foil, out to one side, pushing the boat upright. Because they take on water ballast, what they're doing, they want those foils to track straight through the water. They don't want the foils to skid sideways, because when they skid sideways, they load up, they suck air down, and they crash down. So that keel that's underneath, that normally swings from side to side to give them stability, they're actually just leaving it dead down to make the boat track through the water. So the whole mode of sailing is changing immensely. They take on water when it's windy, they get rid of the water so they can get foiling in the lightest wind possible. They want to actually start taking lead out of the keel of these boats, and in order for them to still prove that they can get themselves upright when they're laying on their side, they make the sides of the boat higher. They even add more volume to the top of the roof. That's even been added to this boat despite the fact it was only launched this year, to help it try and remove lead out of the keel and use the foils to give it stability, and the water ballast.
There's just nothing average about this boat, is there? I mean, even if you look at the shape of the rudders, even that is different.
The famed turbicles. Yeah.
Modelled on a whale, apparently.
Yeah. But it's got the on the back there. It's got the covers there. They take so much water over the deck that water was coming into the cockpit there. It gives it protection, aerodynamic gains, and it helps that water shed off and come cleanly out the back. So fully integrated in an enclosed cockpit there. It's quite busy down below decks on this. It's got a lot of different structure helping support the loads from these stays and the foils. You can see the foils on this boat here are also quite swept back. It does have almost more organic shapes.
It does. That looks like a penguin wing to me.
Yeah, yeah. And you can see the fences it's got on there. Those fences stop the air being sucked down along the foil and causing ventilation, which causes the foil to lose its lift. And many of the boats do have those. They do stop how far the foils can be pulled in, but there's a number of shapes here that stop that foil from going in. These aren't made for outright top speed, these foils. These are made to work across a wide range of conditions for this boat. It's a Juan K's never been shy to push the boundaries. Reliability is typically his bugbear. It takes a while to work one of his boats up. It's going to be quick, we'll see.
And moving on to another boat that's definitely not average, we have L'Occitane here, which is sailed by Armel Tripon. It's his first Vendée, but he's got a really good history with multi-50s. And this is a Sam Manoir design. So Sam is a mini sailor. And he's designed a lot of the really successful Class 40s. I think this is his first IMOCA, isn't it?
It is his first IMOCA, and it's I think you mentioned the number. How many mini sailors in the fleet?
18.
18 mini sailors in the fleet. So
yeah.
It's a proper breeding ground for these boats. This is an amazing looking boat. It's fantastic to see such a capable designer come and take on this class. Every time they've let this off the leash, it's shown it's a rocket ship, but I think even they'll be surprised if they make it around, simply because it's such a new boat. Very clean boat. That incredible, scow style bow up the front there. One of the things on this boat is that they do mention is that it's a soft ride. It's a lot nicer ride than what's on the other boats. And whether that's the shape of the hull or the way that the foils work, I'm not entirely sure. But they're very happy with what they've got. Built by Black Pepper boats.
It's interesting here as well that people are now going back to wind generators for creating power. So I've got hydrogens on mine, but there's quite a few boats now that have wind generators on the back. And I think Yannick has a hydrogen that's capable of being both.
Everything is stacked up on this boat, and if you look along the deck there, all the tie points he has, the sails are going to stay on deck apparently all the way around on this one. So it's got flat decks to drag them back and forth, and apparently the engine is right at the very back of this boat. Everything is stacked aft, and it's going to be a quick boat, I think. Okay, PRB. This is a Vendée boat made in CDK up there in Brittany for Kevin Escoffier, hardcore ocean-born family from St Malo. Savan races. The dad's a mad racer in the 50-foot class and raced with Kevin in a number of events, and Kevin's been around the world on various boats.
Done Volvos, Jules Verne's, but his first Vendée.
Yeah. First Vendée, and PRB is a local company just over the back here for doing exterior rendering of houses, and a long-time supporter of Vendée style boats, starting with I think Isabelle Ortissier, and then going through Michel Desjoyeaux and onto Vincent Roux. So a lot of success there. Very well prepared boat. His brother's a commercial fisherman. These guys have salt water in their veins. He's going to be a tough contender. I think it's a new generation of foils that he's put on this, designed by Juan K. very well presented, turned out boat, and you know this boat's going to be sailed well. And if it's rough and tough, I think you'll be a pretty tough competitor.
And then behind us here, Charal. So this is Jérémie Beyou, and Charal was the first of the latest generation of IMOCAs. So Jérémie's probably done more miles than anybody else in the latest generation one.
So some of these boats had foils added. This boat was designed around foils. So foils, they start on the whiteboard with foils and build the boat around it. He's on his second generation of foils at the moment now. He's been very fast and a real pace setter. Some people ask the question, has he peaked too early? Because once you show your hand, everyone else catches up, and he's been the hunted now. So he certainly doesn't have things his own way at the moment. The pressure's on him. I would say he's the favourite.
Probably, yeah.
Simply because of the time he's had on the water. He's done a lot of racing. This boat is well worked up. There's certainly other boats out there that have the promise and the potential, but time on water certainly counts. We'll get to the sister ship of this a little bit later, but the sister ship of this down there for Koji was launched, I think he hasn't had anywhere near the work-up time, and just now he's realising you've got to spend some time to break everything that needs to break to make these things reliable. Lots of solar panels on board here. Now, a fun little thing of this, I think when we had our good run in the Fastnet last year, this was one of the first foilers that caught up to us.
Oh, we could see clean underneath it.
And when it came past us, I had to rub my eyes to make sure that wasn't a trimaran going past. It was that quick, and the bow was 6 or 7 foot out of the water, and no one on deck, and it just went flying past at pace. Very impressive.
So moving down this way, this is Sam Davies, Initiatives-Cœur. So this is Sam's third Vendée. Her first one was 2008 in Roxy. The second one she dismasted. So she's up this time for a good push and a good result, and she's been really consistent all season. Sam's supporting a charity called Initiatives-Cœur, which every time you click like on her Facebook page, they donate €1 to this charity that gives heart operations to children from third world countries. And I think they've saved 208 children or something in the length of the sponsorship. Yep. So it's just all round, it's a brilliant package.
This boat's been around a few times. It's been a very successful boat. It's got a new generation of foils on it. Very slender tips coming up the top there, similar to Apivia that will go past over here. But Sam just keeps working away at this and just keeps getting faster and faster and climbing further up the fleet. She's in it to win it now. She's certainly in it to beat her husband, who'll be chasing, nipping along at her heels there. It's a very well prepared boat. You can also see the enclosures she's got at the back there. I think this is a former Foncia. Yeah, it's done a few laps, this one. These foils cost about 500,000 to 600,000 euros or pounds, nearly the same thing now, per pair. And it's not just the weight of the foils you add to these boats, it's the structure that you have to put inside to support them and make them work. But Sam's done a lot of work on that, so she's fully in the foiling camp, and let's see how she goes with this one.
So back here then we have Apivia, which is another pretty hot contender. So this is Charlie Dallin, who it's his first Vendée, but he's got a lot of success behind him in the Figaro class.
And he won the TJV in this boat with Jan Elise, who Sam stood by when he had his big incident and injuries down in the Southern Ocean. But this is a beautifully prepared boat. Also got a lot of miles under its belt. Always sticks his nose out the front. This just quietly is my favourite. I love how well prepared the boat is. I like the miles he's done. I like the fact that he's always fast on it. And look at that, I mean, that is fully enclosed.
Completely enclosed. That's
Yeah.
proper indoors yachting.
No soft covers or anything there. That's his only little hatch to get in and out there. You can
There's his
see
camera.
You can see these lovely channels here, how it's recessed there to allow the water to come out and shed. He won't be carrying tons of water when it comes flooding through the boat here. It just exhausts straight out the back and also makes a lovely space for him to be able to walk along, to be able to tie sails into. It's these boats will also have water ballast up in the back here. They can stack water all along the sides and the front. It's just a really clean shape, this boat. I like it. A lot of these boats, in fact all the ones you can see behind me here, they all have one design, mast and outriggers. They have to use those, they can't modify them. One is exactly the same as the other. That part of it is fixed, and I believe the keel fins are as well. Everything else they're sort of freestyling on. But he's young and hungry. I think he's very appropriate that he's back here looking at all these guys because they're all in his gun sights.
Okay, so we are moving on to Damien Seguin. Damien is a Paralympic sailor. So he is missing the lower portion of one arm. And you can see immediately, you see the pedestal there, so that's adapted, the boat's adapted for him. And this is his first Vendée.
Group Apicil, health insurance and stuff, but it's yeah, look at the string fest in on that boat there, where all the ropes come back down through the middle through a central tunnel that runs right through the middle of the boat there, and you don't want to be tired, half asleep when you start pulling on those things, because things go up and down and in and out, and it's a real control centre there. So very clean boat. You can see all the way through to the forepeak up there. I don't know how much they drag sails through there or on deck.
And it's really actually, when sort of having had the opportunity to look on some other IMOCAs while I've been here, the first thing that really strikes me is how the volume inside these boats is, my boat is just tiny little compartments. It's really hard to get around, but these ones, it's so big inside. There's so much room, there's so much space. I think getting around is a lot easier.
Okay, Miranda.
Okay, so number 4 of our female skippers. So this is Miranda Merron, and she's sailing in Campagne de France. So Campagne de France have sponsored Miranda in her Class 40 for quite a while now. She prepares it with her partner Halvard, who is a very well-known, well-respected French ocean racing sailor. Miranda's done heaps and heaps of ocean miles. I'm not sure how many times she's been around the world, but this is her first Vendée, and this is an Owen Clark boat as well, isn't it?
Temenos. This was the biggest rig in the fleet at one stage, and it's still quite tall. She often talks she'd love to chop a metre or two off it, probably every time she's grinding that big mainsail to the top. But yeah, they've pretty much done most of this themselves, haven't they?
Yeah. And this boat did the last race with Rich Wilson in 2016, so it's got a few laps underneath it too.